If you think following shop advice automatically protects your car, this might surprise you. Over 60% of vehicle breakdowns happen with no warning at all, and the average driver overspends $1,200 to $2,000 per year on maintenance mistakes. Not neglect, mistakes. Many of the most expensive failures come from services that sound urgent but aren't. Today, I'm breaking down 17 car maintenance secrets mechanics protect with their lives. The kind that decide whether a car dies early or lasts decades. Watch closely, because secret number 3 explains why low-mileage cars often fail first. And once you hear it, you'll never look at maintenance the same way again. Let's dive in. Secret number 17. Your owner's manual is more powerful than any mechanic's advice. Your owner's manual is more powerful than any mechanic's advice. Yet it's one of the most ignored tools in every car. That book wasn't written by a service department or a salesperson. It was written by the engineers who designed your engine, transmission, brakes, and cooling system. And unlike a repair shop, it has nothing to sell you. According to AAA, over 60% of recommended services given to drivers don't align with the manufacturer's actual maintenance schedule, meaning many urgent repairs are early, unnecessary, or profit-driven. This matters even more if you're over 45 or retired, because many drivers grew up trusting a mechanic's word as final. Shops know that. They rely on urgency, fear, and technical language to push services like fluid flushes, premature brake work, or early transmission maintenance. But the moment you open your manual, that pressure loses its power. Suddenly, maintenance becomes predictable instead of stressful. You stop reacting to scare tactics and start following a schedule that's proven to protect your car long-term. Drivers who follow manufacturer guidelines experience fewer breakdowns, lower repair costs, and longer vehicle life. Consumer Reports shows properly maintained cars routinely last 150,000 miles or more beyond poorly maintained ones. The truth is simple. A mechanic's recommendation can change from visit to visit, but your owner's manual never changes its story. And that consistency is what protects both your car and your money. And once you understand this, the next secret will completely change how you hear the word urgent the next time a shop says it. Secret number 16. Most urgent fluid flushes are not urgent at all. Most urgent fluid flushes aren't urgent at all, and the panic surrounding them is usually manufactured, not mechanical. Fluid services are some of the fastest, highest-margin jobs a shop can sell, which is why visual fear is so effective. A dark fluid sample, a dirty rag, or a grim look from the service advisor often does more selling than facts ever could. But fluid color alone doesn't equal failure. Transmission fluid naturally darkens with age, and coolant can lose its bright color long before it loses its protective properties. This matters because many drivers are routinely shown dirty samples without context and pressured into immediate service. What's rarely explained is that real fluid failure shows up through burnt smells, gritty texture, metal particles, overheating, or shifting problems, not just appearance. That's why informed drivers ask for proof beyond color, such as smell, feel, or even a simple test strip that measures fluid condition. Cost is where this becomes serious. A single fluid flush can run anywhere from $150 to $400, and when done prematurely, it often becomes a repeating expense every few visits. Manufacturer guidelines commonly rate modern fluids for 60,000 to 100,000 miles, meaning many flushes are sold far too early. Following factory intervals turns fluid maintenance into a planned, affordable service instead of a fear-based surprise, saving hundreds over the life of the vehicle without increasing risk. And after you see how often urgency is used as a sales tool, the next secret will save you from overpaying at the dealership for no real reason. Secret number 15. You don't need dealer service to keep your warranty. One of the most expensive myths in car ownership is the belief that dealership service is required to keep a warranty valid. That idea has been carefully protected because it works. Dealerships depend on exclusivity to justify higher labor rates and service pricing, even though federal law says otherwise. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act clearly allows vehicle owners to use independent repair shops or perform routine maintenance themselves, as long as manufacturer specifications are followed and records are kept. Real-world examples show how costly this myth can be. A routine oil change on a Toyota Camry or Honda Accord often costs $110 to $150 at a dealership, while the same service at a reputable independent shop typically runs $60 to $80 using identical oil grades. Brake services, coolant replacements, and scheduled maintenance follow the same pattern, quietly adding up to thousands of dollars over the life of a vehicle. Dealerships rarely highlight this freedom because fear keeps customers loyal. Manufacturers can only deny a warranty claim if they prove improper service caused the failure, not simply because the work was done elsewhere. Once this is understood, maintenance decisions become informed and cost-effective instead of emotional. And once you stop overpaying for service locations, the next costly assumption to question is what oil you're using, because synthetic oil isn't always better for older engines. Secret number 14. Synthetic oil isn't always better for older engines. Synthetic oil is often sold as the ultimate upgrade, but for many older, high-mileage engines, it isn't always the best choice. Synthetic oils carry higher profit margins, which is why they're frequently recommended as a one-size-fits-all solution. The issue is that engines built 10, 15, or even 20 years ago were designed with different tolerances, seal materials, and oil flow expectations. When thinner synthetic oil is introduced into a worn engine, it can slip past aging seals more easily, leading to oil leaks or increased consumption that didn't exist before. This matters most to drivers over 55, because they're more likely to keep vehicles long-term and depend on reliability rather than performance marketing. Research from the Society of Automotive Engineers shows that older engines with wider internal clearances often maintain better oil pressure with slightly thicker conventional or synthetic blend oils. Consumer Reports has also found that switching high-mileage engines to full synthetic frequently results in higher oil usage without clear durability gains. Understanding this saves money and prevents unnecessary repairs. Choosing oil based on engine age and condition, not advertising, reduces leaks, slows wear, and cuts constant top-offs. The real secret isn't that synthetic oil is bad, but that the best oil depends on the engine you're actually driving. And surprisingly, one of the smallest parts on your car, the gas cap, can trigger warning lights and costly repairs if it's ignored. Secret number 13. Your gas cap needs a silicone vitamin. Your gas cap might be one of the smallest parts on your car, but ignoring it can quietly cost you real money. Modern vehicles are designed as sealed systems, and the gas cap plays a critical role in keeping fuel vapors contained. Over time, the rubber seal on that cap dries out, hardens, and cracks, especially in cars that are 10 years or older. When that happens, the system detects a leak, and suddenly you're staring at a check engine light that seems to come and go for no obvious reason. This is especially common for drivers over 55, because many keep vehicles longer and experience recurring warning lights that never seem to lead to a clear fix. According to emissions data, loose or failing gas caps account for more than 15% of EVAP-related fault codes, one of the most common causes of mystery check engine lights. Shops often charge $100 to $200 just to diagnose this issue, even though the solution can be as simple as restoring the seal. Applying a light coat of silicone grease to the gas cap gasket keeps it flexible, helps it seal properly, and prevents vapor leaks. It's a low-cost habit that reduces warning lights, avoids unnecessary diagnostics, and keeps the fuel system functioning as designed. And once you realize how small habits like this matter, the next secret will change how you think about driving itself. Because how you drive matters far more than the badge on your hood. Secret number 12. Driving habits matter more than brand loyalty. Driving habits matter far more than brand loyalty, even though many drivers believe the badge on the hood determines how long a car will last. Long-term reliability data tells a different story. Consumer Reports consistently shows that maintenance habits and driving behavior outweigh brand differences when it comes to vehicle lifespan. Smooth acceleration, gradual braking, and letting the engine reach operating temperature reduce stress on nearly every major component. Aggressive driving increases fuel consumption by 15 to 30%, according to the U.S. Department of Energy, while also accelerating wear on brakes, tires, and suspension parts. A typical brake job can cost $300 to $800, and premature tire replacement often runs $600 to $1,200. Hard acceleration and sudden stops also strain transmissions and engines, leading to repairs that can exceed $3,000 long before they should. Adopting smoother driving habits doesn't just save money. It improves ride quality, reduces breakdowns, and keeps repairs predictable instead of surprising. A carefully driven average car will often outlast a poorly driven, reliable one simply because less stress means slower wear. And when it comes to fluids labeled lifetime, that same assumption quietly sets drivers up for some of the most expensive failures a vehicle can have. Thanks for sticking with me this far. It tells me you want to know the car maintenance secrets mechanics don't like talking about. If you want more real-world insights that protect your car and your wallet, hit the like button and subscribe, because the secrets coming up next are the ones most drivers never get told. Secret number 11. Lifetime. Fluids are not lifetime for you. Lifetime fluids sound reassuring, but in the real world, they rarely last as long as the car itself. The term usually means lifetime of the warranty, not the lifetime of the vehicle. Fluids break down from heat, friction, and contamination, even if the manufacturer doesn't list a service interval. Transmission fluid, for example, gradually loses its lubricating properties and accumulates metal particles over time. When it fails, it doesn't wear out gracefully, it fails suddenly. The cost difference is significant. A preventive transmission fluid service typically costs $150 to $300, while a transmission repair or replacement can range from $4,000 to $7,000. The same applies to differentials and power steering systems, where fluid degradation leads to bearing wear, noise, and eventual failure. Once damage begins, fluid changes no longer fix the problem. Many drivers only learn this after experiencing harsh shifts, slipping gears, or sudden drivetrain failure. At that point, the damage is already done. Studies and long-term fleet data consistently show that vehicles with periodic fluid changes last significantly longer than those left on lifetime fluids. And this problem gets worse with certain driving patterns, because the next secret explains why short, frequent trips can be far more damaging to an engine than racking up high mileage on the highway. Secret number 10. Short trips are harder on engines than high mileage. Short trips are harder on engines than high mileage, and this catches many drivers off guard, especially those who mostly drive locally. Think of a typical scenario: a well-maintained Toyota Camry, Honda CR-V, or Ford Escape that only sees 5 to 10-minute trips to the store, church, or a friend's house. The mileage stays low, so everything feels safe, but internally, the engine is taking a beating. Engines need time to reach full operating temperature. On short trips, oil never fully warms up, allowing moisture and fuel to remain inside the engine. Over time, that moisture creates sludge, corrosion, and accelerated wear. According to industry data, engines experience up to 80% of their wear during cold starts, and repeated short trips multiply that damage. This is why vehicles with lower mileage but short trip driving often develop valve train noise, timing issues, and oil consumption earlier than expected. The cost implications are real. Sludge-related engine repairs can range from $1,500 to $4,000, and timing component failures often exceed $2,000. Ironically, cars driven longer distances on the highway tend to last longer because heat burns off moisture and contaminants. And here's where it gets even more expensive, because the damage from short trips is often accelerated by one overlooked mistake that seems harmless at the counter: choosing cheap filters. Secret number 9. Cheap filters can cost you thousands. Cheap filters feel like a smart way to save money, but they're one of the fastest ways to shorten an engine's life. Oil, air, and cabin filters are your car's first line of defense. Yet low-cost versions often use thinner media, weaker seals, and poor flow control. Independent lab tests have shown oil filter flow differences of up to 50% between bargain filters and quality ones. That matters because restricted flow means less lubrication at startup, when engines experience the most wear. For drivers over 45 who keep cars long-term, this adds up quietly. Poor filtration allows contaminants to circulate, accelerating wear on bearings, camshafts, and timing components. The result isn't immediate failure. It's gradual damage that shows up as oil consumption, noisy engines, or timing issues. Replacing an engine or timing system can cost $3,000 to $7,000, while the difference between a cheap filter and a quality one is often $5 to $10 per oil change. Saving a few dollars today can create a repair bill years later that no one connects back to the filter. And this same hidden damage pattern shows up again with another overlooked component that most people only think about when the car won't start: the battery. Secret number 8. Battery health affects far more than starting. Most drivers think of the battery as a simple on-off switch. Either the car starts or it doesn't. But modern vehicles rely on stable battery voltage to control everything from fuel delivery to transmission shifting. When a battery weakens, even slightly, it can confuse onboard computers and trigger false warning lights. Industry data shows weak or failing batteries contribute to up to 40% of misdiagnosed electrical faults. For drivers who've owned their cars for years, this often leads to unnecessary repairs. A weak battery can cause rough idling, erratic gauges, random warning lights, and even stalling, issues that mimic failing sensors or modules. Shops may replace parts costing $300 to $1,500, when the real fix was a $150 to $250 battery replacement. Worse, low voltage strains alternators, shortening their life and leading to failures that can exceed $800 to $1,200. Maintaining battery health keeps systems stable, diagnostics accurate, and repairs predictable. Ignoring it turns simple problems into expensive guesswork. And speaking of predictable systems, there's one part of your car that literally tells you when it's wearing out, if you know how to listen. Secret number 7. Brake wear is predictable, if you listen. Brake failures rarely come out of nowhere. Modern brake systems are designed to warn you long before they become dangerous, but many drivers don't recognize the signals. That light squealing sound during slow stops? It's often a wear indicator doing its job. Ignoring it turns a simple pad replacement into a full brake job. Pads alone typically cost $150 to $300, but once rotors are damaged, repairs jump to $600 to $1,200. As vehicles age, braking becomes even more critical. Worn pads increase stopping distances, and uneven wear can cause pulling or vibration that stresses suspension components. According to safety data, neglected brakes are a contributing factor in thousands of preventable accidents each year. What starts as noise turns into heat, warping rotors and boiling brake fluid, reducing braking effectiveness when you need it most. Listening early keeps repairs small, predictable, and safer. Waiting until braking performance drops makes every stop more stressful and far more expensive. And just like brakes, another quiet factor affects both comfort and safety every time you drive: your tire pressure. I appreciate you sticking with this. Most drivers never learn these car maintenance secrets that extend a vehicle's life. If this is helping you, hit like and subscribe, because even more proven, mechanic-level secrets are coming next. Secret number 6. Overinflated or underinflated tires age you faster. Tire pressure doesn't just affect your car, it affects you. Overinflated tires create a harsh ride and reduce traction, while underinflated tires increase rolling resistance and heat buildup. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration links improper tire pressure to over 11,000 crashes annually. Beyond safety, poor inflation quietly drains money. Underinflated tires can reduce fuel economy by up to 3% per tire, while uneven wear shortens tire life by 10 to 20%. Replacing a set of tires costs $600 to $1,200, an expense that arrives sooner when pressure is ignored. Over time, bad pressure also strains suspension components, leading to alignment issues and repairs that easily exceed $500 to $1,000. For drivers who value comfort and predictability, correct tire pressure means smoother rides, better braking, and less fatigue behind the wheel. It's a small habit with big payoffs. And while we're on habits, one of the most misunderstood ones involves how long modern engines actually need to warm up. Secret number 5. Warm-ups are shorter than you think. Many drivers still idle their cars for several minutes, believing it protects the engine. But modern engines simply don't work that way. Fuel-injected systems circulate oil almost immediately, and prolonged idling actually causes more harm than gentle driving. During idle, engines warm unevenly. Fuel doesn't atomize efficiently, and carbon buildup accelerates on intake valves and piston rings. The U.S. Department of Energy estimates idling wastes up to 1/2 gallon of fuel per hour, and long-term carbon-related cleanups can cost $300 to $1,000. What engines really need is light driving after 30 to 60 seconds, allowing oil pressure, transmission fluid, and bearings to reach operating conditions evenly. Drivers who idle excessively often experience rough idle issues, reduced fuel economy, and premature wear that feels age-related, but is actually habit-driven. Letting the car move gently is safer, cleaner, and cheaper over time. And even when you drive correctly, dashboard warnings can still appear, which leads to the next misunderstanding that costs drivers unnecessary panic and money. Secret number 4. Warning lights don't mean stop driving immediately. A warning light feels like an alarm, but most of the time it's simply information, not an emergency. Data shows over 30% of check engine lights are caused by minor issues like loose gas caps, aging sensors, or temporary emissions faults. Yet panic causes drivers to tow vehicles unnecessarily or approve rushed repairs without proper diagnosis. A single tow can cost $150 to $300, and misdiagnosed repairs often exceed $1,000. Only flashing lights or red warnings, like oil pressure or overheating, require immediate shutdown. Everything else should be evaluated calmly. Understanding this prevents fear-based decisions and gives you control at the service counter. When you know what requires urgency and what doesn't, repairs become strategic instead of reactive. And sometimes, that same warning light comes from something far simpler than a failing sensor, something caused by a habit almost everyone thinks is harmless. Secret number 3. Overfilling your gas tank can damage the engine system. Topping off the fuel tank after the pump clicks feels like getting your money's worth, but it's one of the fastest ways to damage the EVAP system. Modern fuel systems are sealed, and excess fuel can flood the charcoal canister designed only to trap vapors. Once saturated, it fails permanently. EVAP repairs commonly range from $400 to $1,200, often triggered by nothing more than repeated overfilling. Emissions data shows gas cap and EVAP-related faults account for 15% or more of check engine lights, leading many drivers into repeated diagnostic visits costing $100 to $200 each. Stopping at the first click protects the system, prevents warning lights, and avoids months of frustration. And if cold starts are part of your routine, there's another comfort habit that quietly increases engine wear every single morning. Secret number 2. Don't blast the heater right after cold starts. Turning the heater to full blast immediately after starting feels natural, especially in cold weather. But it places extra demand on a cold engine before oil circulation is fully established. Cold engines experience 3 to 5 times more wear in the first few minutes, and adding electrical load from the heater fan and defrosters increases strain on bearings, seals, and the charging system. Over time, this contributes to oil breakdown, reduced efficiency, and premature wear on timing components. Repairs tied to cold start wear, such as timing chains or oil-related failures, can cost $1,500 to $3,000. Waiting just 60 to 90 seconds before turning on the heater allows oil pressure to stabilize and reduces that stress significantly. Small timing adjustments like this protect expensive systems, and when combined with routine care, they point to the most important truth of all. Nothing saves money like preventing problems before they start. Secret number 1. Preventive maintenance is cheaper than any repair. Preventive maintenance lacks drama, which is why it's often postponed, but it's the single most powerful cost-saving strategy a driver has. Consumer Reports shows properly maintained vehicles can last up to 150,000 miles longer than neglected ones. Routine services like oil changes, inspections, and fluid maintenance may cost a few $100s per year, but they prevent failures that cost thousands all at once. A $200 transmission service can prevent a $6,000 rebuild. A $100 inspection can catch a failing belt or leak before it becomes a roadside breakdown. Preventive care keeps costs predictable, reduces stress, and maintains reliability, especially for drivers who depend on their vehicles daily. Repairs react to failure. Maintenance prevents it. And the most expensive mistake drivers make isn't buying the wrong car. It's waiting too long to take care of the one they already own. And there you have it. Real car maintenance secrets that save money, reduce stress, and keep your vehicle reliable for the long haul. If this video helped you, hit the like button so more drivers can find it, subscribe to the channel for practical, no-nonsense car care every week, and leave a comment letting me know which secret surprised you most or what habit you're changing first. Before you go, Be sure to check out the video on proven habits that can help your car hit 500,000 miles without major repairs. It's the perfect follow-up and shows how small decisions today can add years and hundreds of thousands of miles to your car's life.